whether you, regardless of how you look at it or think about it or feel about it, or even fared in 2020, 2020 was a hot mess, right? So we had the virus, we had the pandemic, we had, civil unrest. We were locked down in our homes. We had this never ending search for toilet paper. We have an election that won't go away and we're ready to start voting again. So, and if you haven't voted or if you haven't thought about it, get out there and vote. But the whole thing here is that I really want to see, raise your hand or put in the chat whether or not you can really relate to what's happened this year, how it's been just so much of a different thing for us to do. All right, got it. But in one way or another, it has touched us all. And it's also, many of us, our finances have taken a hit. And for some of the others, really, even though maybe they haven't taken a hit, it's like Georgia, they've been constantly on your mind. As I said earlier, I have a financial planning and education firm, and I am on a mission to empower women business owners to build secure futures and to also increase their leadership impact without really a lot of stress and overwhelm. But underneath it all, though, I'm a money and mindset person. Money because it touches every part of our lives, and mindset because it really controls every part of our lives. I found that many entrepreneurs struggle with both money and mindset. And so it makes it difficult for them to build a business and to also have a secure financial future in many cases. Sometimes it's because they are too busy. Believe it or not, some entrepreneurs actually forget to manage their money. Sometimes it's because they engage in what I call magical thinking. That is, if I just keep working, that it will somehow all be taken care of. The problem is there's no plan to really stop working. And sometimes it's because they don't know how. They missed out on the education part. And I can really relate to all of these because at one time or another in my life, I've actually experienced them all. Before starting my firm, I worked in the corporate world as a management consultant. And yes, I was busy. And yes, I engaged in magical thinking. But really, I didn't know what to do. So in that instance, what I did is I turned over my money management to someone else. I was really too embarrassed to admit that I didn't know what to do. And so here I was, this hotshot, going into companies and telling them what to do, how to manage themselves and how to grow. And I didn't know how to take care of the money I was making. But my embarrassment really turned to anger and frustration when I learned that the person I had entrusted my money to had lost it all. I fumed and I cursed and I threw things and I did everything that you can think of. But in the end, I really decided that it was my fault because I didn't know what to do. I think it's a crime that they don't teach money management in schools. I once met this man, a very educated man, and I asked him, why do you think they don't teach money management in schools? And he said to me, because I don't think they know how. And I wasn't sure if he meant that teachers didn't know how personally, or if he meant that they couldn't learn how. Either way, that was a conversation that was not going to end good. So I excused myself and walked away. But I digress. I was in a bad situation. I was in a situation where I had entrusted my money to someone else and they had lost it all. And I was angry, but more than that, I was really, really scared. Sure, I could learn more money. I could earn more money. But if I earned money and nothing else changed, and I didn't learn how to manage my money, I could really find myself in the same position all over again. So making more money at that point was not the answer. The answer was I needed to learn how to manage my money. So I thought about it. And as we say, I prayed on it. What am I supposed to do in this situation? And so I decided to make a career change. I changed from a management consultant to a financial consultant almost overnight. You see, I reasoned that I could learn how to manage my money by by managing other people's money. And it worked. And so I know what you're thinking. And I can see you making these mental notes. Make a note, never work with the crazy woman. But for 20 years ago, and in that time, I've learned a few things. Plus, you'll be happy to know that no one lost money because of my lack of skills, because I had mentors who actually managed every step that I made and checked every step that I made. I see money and mindset as being more of a yin and yang relationship. In other words, your mindset impacts your money, and your money impacts your mindset, and it goes around and around and around. So as we begin to look backwards, I don't want to just go back to the beginning of 2020, although, as I said, there are some great lessons to have been learned for 2020. I want to go all the way back to when you were age 7. Why age 7? Because that's when your money attitudes, thoughts, and behaviors were deeply implanted and became the core of your money mindset. So the good news is, as you look at this picture, that we were all as cute as a button at that age. The bad news is that for many of us, we got stuck there. Our money mindsets got stuck at age 7. And so we're walking around today making money decisions, sometimes really big money decisions, based on what we learned at age 7. So a big part of my client onboarding process is really learning your money story, because your money story is the window into your mindset. And your mindset is so important to be able to, it tells you how successful you can be with your money. So what exactly is your mindset? Well, your mindset is a set of assumptions, methods, or notations that are so well established that it creates a powerful incentive within you to continue to adopt or accept prior behaviors, choices, or tools. It predetermines your responses and interpretations of situations, and it impacts every decision that you make. So bottom line, let me give you a bottom line here. The bottom line is, and this is possibly a writer downer for you, you cannot outsmart your mindset. I've seen people try, and it may have worked momentarily, but it doesn't work in the long run. So if you don't like what you have, if you don't like the situation you find yourself in, if you can't seem to achieve the things that you want, or if you find yourself in a constant struggle with yourself, the only way to affect real change is to change your mindset first. The author, Wallace D. Wattles, said, whatever you habitually think yourself to be, that you are. Now, without getting too deep into the weeds, your mindset consists of 2 parts, your subconscious and your conscious mind. Your subconscious program is responsible for about 95% of your current situation. It controls a multitude of things, including things like your breathing. So you never have to think, breathe in, breathe out. It does it automatically for you. It also controls your spending and your saving habits and what you see as a priority in your life. The remaining 5% is your conscious mind and it shows, those are your thoughts, and it shows up as willpower. So if you're on a diet and you see a cookie, the willpower kicks in and says, don't eat the cookie, you're on a diet. But if your subconscious, it's really no match for your subconscious, because it can say, I don't see anything wrong with the cookie. In fact, you're really hungry, so eat the cookie. And so another diet bites the dust. Your subconscious mind works automatically, and it's quick. It's so quick. In fact, we don't always know what happened. For example, have you ever been driving home or to someplace familiar, and you arrive there and you have no idea how you got there? Or you're driving along and suddenly there's a different color car in front of you and you can't imagine how it got there. Or you purchase something, or you do something and you say, I can't believe I did that. What was I thinking? That's your subconscious mind kicking in for you. Now, make no mistake, your mindset is not doing all of these things to make your life worse. It's doing all of this to help you. Its main job, in fact, its only job, is to protect you. It doesn't know good or bad or right or wrong. It's doing what worked in the past to protect you. And that's the key to mastering your mindset, to really taking a look at how you can change this if you're not where you want to be. Now, with all of its willpower, with all of its power, it's easy to think that your mindset is, just that, the boss of you, and there's nothing you can do about it. But that's not how it's meant to be. In fact, the opposite is true. As the president and CEO of your life, you're meant to be the boss of your mindset and it to be a loyal employee for you. So if you're at odds with your mindset, how do you make the shift? How do you make your mindset work for you, especially when it almost appears to work outside of you or in spite of you, that you have no control over it? Dr. Amit Ray says your mind is a flexible mirror. Adjust it to see a better world. Keep in mind that adjusting your mindset takes time. It's really hard work, but it's really well worth the effort. So what's the best way to do that? Well, there's tons of methods and theories, but over the years, I've actually come across I've developed my own 6-step method. And it's a method that I use with my clients I really take them through this so that I can get a better understanding of their mindset, where they are, and things that we can change. And so my system goes something like this, and I'm going to share those 6 steps. I call this my secret sauce. So don't share it with a lot of other people. Don't tell anybody else. It's my secret sauce. So in looking at my secret sauce, I've got 6 steps, as I said. And step number 1 is to identify and visualize what success is. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Really bring in all of your senses to create a picture. Write it down, create a vision board, do whatever you need to do so that it works for you. While this may not seem like a super important step, it is the most important step in the whole process. Because if you don't know where you're going, then it's impossible to get there. Your mindset loves clarity. And in fact, it dismisses things that it doesn't fully understand. Once you have this visualize what success is for you, break it down into goals and create a plan or a path for you to follow. Because our attention spans are so short today, I think I've heard people compare it to a fly or a flea or something like that. Write down your vision and your goals every day so that you're always working toward that end every day. Step number 2 is don't assume you know everything. Be humble. As business owners, that's going to be a tough one because we do know everything, right? So, but learn to set your ego aside and really listen and learn where the resistance is coming from. So if you're not where you want to be, remember that your mindset is your protector. So what is it trying to protect you from and why? Every business owner I know wants to be successful, yet many don't succeed. One major cause is the fear of failure. My client Claire really wanted to be successful. She had everything going for her. Everything was all set, a great idea, the skills, everything. Yet she wasn't succeeding. She would take one step forward, one step backwards. So she was staying in about the same place. When we dug into her money story, I learned that her father had once started a business. He had failed. He had to file bankruptcy, and the family fell on hard times. So on one level, she really wanted to be successful, but on a deeper level, she was afraid that she would fail like her father. So the real point here is to listen and to trust the wisdom of your mindset, because it's trying to protect you from what it perceives as a threat to you. Step number 3 is to get specific. Recognize your fears and what might be holding you back, and understand the case your mindset is making for stopping you. So you may understand that the overarching fear is a fear of failure, for example. But what does that really mean? Remember, the fear of failure or any other fear means different things to different people. What is it in your particular instance that's triggering your subconscious to go into protective mode? What is the harm or the threat that it perceives? So, for example, if success means that you'll have to work long hours and you won't have much time with your family, or does success mean that more people will be depending on you? Does it mean that you'll have to get out of your comfort zone to get more sales? What does it mean for you? Whenever we look at something like the fear of failure, the fear of success, or any other fear, we're doing so with the idea that that is really just the outward symptom. What we want to know is the underlying cause. Once you know that underlying cause, then you're ready for step 4. Step 4 is to set your intention. That is to make a promise to work with your mindset instead of working against it. So she was, in Claire's case, she was specifically afraid of failure, but more specifically, she was afraid that she would mismanage the money, go broke, and that her family would suffer because of that. So she made a promise to herself. And she said that if success meant hurting her family, she would stop. To convince herself further, she hired an accountant, someone who was familiar with her type of business, so they became a resource, as well as keeping the books. And we also worked together on her financial goals, working to make sure that her cash flow and her cash reserves never fell below for certain levels. But most importantly, she made that promise. She made that promise that if something went wrong, she would stop. And by setting that promise, it immediately lessened all the tension and the stress, and it made space in her mindset to be okay with the idea of being successful going forward. Step number 5 is to find tons of exemplary examples. In other words, flood your mindset with examples of people who have been successful doing what it is you want to do, but without the negative side effects. If being successful means spending a lot of time and not having time for your family, find successful people who work less and who have lots of time to spend with their families. In Claire's case, she looked up business owners who were successful, but who had big bank accounts and were financially secure. The important part here is to let your mindset know that it is possible to satisfy all the parts of your heart and your mind. For example, this could be people you know, people you don't know. It could be celebrities. It could be fictional characters. Your mindset doesn't know fake or real. It will do anything that you tell it is possible. The more examples you provide, the more you reinforce the idea that it is definitely possible, and also what it is you're working towards. Now, one question I typically get at this point is, what if I can't find any examples? What if I'm the first person who wants to do something for the very first time? And at that point, if that's your situation, then it's up to you to build it. It's up to you to be the example, to set the example. Think about people like Steve Jobs and other innovators in different areas who were the first, who were the trailblazers that everybody else followed. So the important thing here is not to understand how they did it. It's to understand that it is possible. And that's the key to making your mindset understand that. Finally, step number 6 is to solidify and affirm. The more you etch your new perspective into your mindset, the more you can count on it to help you. It can help you make your goals and your vision so much easier to accomplish when you get your mindset on board. So use daily affirmations. Affirmations should remind your mindset of what it is you want to do and how the results that you want. So a good affirmation for Claire might be, success increases my bank account. Repeat your affirmations daily, before you go to bed, when you get up in the morning, and several times in between. So there you have it, my 6-step process, my secret sauce, so you can take a giant leap forwards in 2021 with your mindset in tow. But that's really just the tip of the iceberg. One of the best ways to 10x your results is to dream bigger, to stretch your mindset. Imagine how far you could go if your mindset was truly working for you, the 95 plus the 5%. So often we limit ourselves to what we can see right in front of us, but there's a whole big world out there and a ton of experiences just waiting for us. There's a saying that if you aim for the moon and you miss, you may still hit a star. So my challenge to you is to stretch your vision to the edge of what you think is possible, and then take one more giant, really giant step. Now, this whole process is complicated when you begin to add money to the mix. Helping clients with both money and mindset is what I do. I look at the whole you and create strategies and a plan that moves you closer to your vision. So if you are making money and you're not where you want to be financially, or if you want a plan to make your money and your mindset work for you, let's talk. Let's get on a call and let's discuss your goals and create some action steps so that you can put to use right away. I'm going to put a link in I'm going to put a link to my calendar in the chat. I'm also going to put a link to my All About You template. It's a template for you to write your money autobiography. These are the same kinds of questions that I go over with my clients when they come on board. Your money story, remember, is the window into your mindset, and understanding yours can be a valuable asset. Thank you. And remember, if you don't mind your money, someone else will, and then they will control your future. Okay, I'll open it up to questions. Let me put that in the chat for you as well.
Thank you, Patricia. That was awesome. And I have jotted down some questions.
Okay.
Yeah, so I love what you're saying about mindset. And I definitely have a mindset that I inherited from my parents that I'm working on. How do you deliver your mindset programs? Like how do you work with clients specifically?
The way that I work with clients is we start with number one, understanding. I spend a lot of time talking to my clients. First of all, I spend a lot of time really going over what it is that they're trying to achieve, what their goals are, and then, as I said, I really dig into their money mindset. And the booklet that I have there, the template, it includes a series of questions that we go through, because it's so important to understand your mindset. Remember, your mindset, it's responsible for 95% of where you are today. So nothing, yeah, I'm great, but I'm not that great that I can take over, what 95% of your body is saying, no, don't do that kind of thing. So I really have to understand where we're working from. And then we go through the process. If we need to change something, then we go through that 6-step process that I went through with you to really make sure that your mindset is working just as hard as you are in terms of wanting to get to the goals that you want.
Great. Okay. Thanks for explaining that. Yeah, I thought that was so informative. I didn't realize that 5% is conscious and then like 95% is down there. I believe it. I can see that in my own life, but yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. Now you can understand why it's so hard to stay on that diet.
Right. Yeah. Especially about the cookie, like all conscious mind my mind goes, yeah. And I'm just like, I just want the cookie. Yeah.
Just want the cookie. And and you're able to reason out why eating that cookie is not such a bad thing. I mean, we're smart. We're super smart people. And we can reason that away very quickly. Okay, it's just one cookie. okay, it's only 100 calories. So therefore, that's not really going to hurt anything. And I used to have this, I used to tell people this thing about, well, if, you know, the higher up you go, the more the calories dissipate. So I would tell them to go and stand on your couch, stand on your bed, whatever you need to do to be higher up so the calories will dissipate. And it won't even be 100 calories. You know, I mean, so we have this ability to just reason everything away, whether
Yeah.
it makes any sense or not. Because remember what I said, your mindset doesn't know right or wrong, good or bad, fake or real. So you can tell it anything you want. And it says, okay, if the cookie, you know, eat the cookie, it's okay. It's okay. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great analogy. Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
Well, I don't have a question, just so more of a comment of how many psychology books or classes have you taken to also get to, because a lot of what you're talking about really is like.
I have been studying this for about 8 years now. And so I have gathered things from people all over the world. And but this seems to work. You know, this is a combination of a lot of different people. I've stolen this from this person and this from this person and tried this.
Yeah.
And it's a trial and error thing. And this seems to work the best for me is to use that particular one. But a lot of people went into baking that, you know.
Yeah. Okay.